3 rounds of discussion with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing first from a Zoom call in Columbia, South Carolina, Matthew, aka the Unbreakable Spirit. And his opponent from a Zoom call in Atlanta, Georgia, Daniel, aka the Executioner. Take it away, Matthew.
Thank you, Jesse, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Allies Unbreakable Spirit.
I'm
and
the Executioner, Daniel Travis.
Yeah.
Huh. Episode number 59.
Actually, I was able to finish it before you interrupted me.
Fuck.
So I should be the one saying ha. Yeah, this is episode number, I believe you're right on it being
9.
I've honestly tried,
9.
to be honest.
59. Anyway, continue.
59, whatever. Anyways, we got 3 through them and then hop into topic 1.
Topic number 1.
Mandy Rose being released from WWE. And
Topic.
how crazy it's gone over the course of like 2 days.
Topic number 2.
Vince McMahon thinks he can return to WWE despite 2 more allegations.
Number 3.
The results of NXT Deadline.
And our honest thoughts.
Yeah.
Let's jump in.
You're starting off. Take it away.
Okay, Mandy Rose getting released. All because her site that she posted inappropriate stuff got leaked. That is it. My honest take on that is I'm gonna be honest, guys. If WWE knew about this shit ahead of time and just don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong, I understand why they didn't. It just really kept out of fucking left field.
Yeah. Now,
hang on before.
Mandy was making more money off that than her WWE contract, which,
if that's
and considering she was being paid as a main roster level superstar.
Because if that's the reason that she got released, that's kind of pathetic. But my one problem with how WWE handled this is don't get me wrong, she's a very attractive woman, because she's a superstar, because she did it appropriate, because she did it, I get you needed to do it, but you didn't need to do it on a random ass episode of NXT. That's my one problem.
Well, the reason she lost the title was because she got released.
Yeah.
Apparently it was a last minute decision.
Yeah, but it is still kind of random for her to do on a random episode of NXT for absolutely out of nowhere. And don't get me wrong. Oh, you got the timer going, right?
Yes, I have it going.
Okay, just making sure. My honor, don't get me wrong. Mandy Rose, doing whatever she's doing is it's great. But I also believe that this might damage Toxic Attraction because she was the head person of that thing. Who was gonna what's gonna happen with it? What are your thoughts on all this shenanigans?
Like I said in the intro, this has gotten out of control over the course of only 2 days.
How so?
Literally, the hashtag Justice for Mandy was trending on Twitter. I'm not joking.
Jeez. I mean,
and people are drawing comparisons to Riddle and Jimmy and Jay getting in trouble for drugs, with Mandy getting fired for making money on a side hustle. Those are 2 different scenarios.
I mean, I mean, because my honest take, hot take here is like, if because if it was because her thing got leaked and WWE knew about it, that's kind of weird. But if WWE released her just because it got leaked, I find that is a weird and honest decision because don't get me wrong, she was probably in this whole 2.0 black and gold, whatever the fuck is going on with NXT. She was probably she was a really good champion.
Yeah. And I just want to say this to anyone who does the whole hashtag justice for Mandy. She knew what she was doing could get her in trouble with WWE and did it anyways.
I mean, because I've even heard she was even shocked by this. I mean, it's
yeah, she has no right to be shocked considering she knew it could get her in trouble.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If WWE, because I'm honestly wondering, if this thing gets even more out of control, is WWE just gonna have what if this gets so out of control that WWE may just have to bring it back and may just have to hey, I get it. It's hey, because maybe she wasn't being paid enough. Did anyone consider
the level of a main roster star while in NXT?
What was it, $5 million a year?
I don't know, but she was making more off her army whatever thing, army fund, whatever. Fund army, I don't know. You know what I mean? She was making than her WWE contract. If I were her, if WWE offered for her to come back, I would just keep posting explicit photos.
I mean,
because people are thirsty for her.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. WWE had there are sometimes when these sort of situations happen, you could have just done some sort of investigation or do something, handle this properly, but just doing it so damn quickly just proved that's I'm just gonna be honest, guys. I don't really care, but it's just if you can get fired for doing a job on the side hustle, then you're just basically expendable for WWE. They don't really give a shit about it.
Yeah, and to be fair, the whole side hustle thing was became a no-no during the Vince regime. But we're probably going to return to this at a later date as the story develops even more and gets even here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We'll be right back for topic 2. And we are back with topic number 2. Vince McMahon thinks he can come back. What?
Sorry, continue.
Vince McMahon thinks he can come back to WWE. And these are his words here. No. He says that he thinks he can return once the whole scandal thing blows over. He says this, and then 2 more allegations come out.
I mean, because according to what I've heard about this is that Vince McMahon believes, and these are his words that I've heard him say, is that he believes if he were still in charge that this stuff would have just blown over.
Yeah. And honestly, to be honest, and no disrespect to Vinnie Mac or anything,
no,
WWE is better without him.
I mean, because I saw this video on TikTok. It's I think that Vince McMahon, honestly, would rather let WWE burn to ashes than let anybody else run, even his son-in-law, honestly.
Yeah, and that's fairly obvious considering he put two people as co-CEOs.
Yeah, because of his, yeah. But and I will say, like, I'm gonna be honest. Vince McMahon coming back to WWE, I find that I don't know if that would be a good idea, considering that when Vince McMahon ran things in WWE, is that it honestly got to the point where it's kind of was very predictable. You kind of knew where stuff was going
Yeah,
in storylines or in everything. Like it got to the point where it's just like nothing really. 3 hours of Monday was kind of the same old shenanigans over and over. But since Triple H has come over, and I'm gonna be 100% honest here, is that you don't like every single small detail is just a larger part of a bigger storyline.
yeah. Also, this is something that we don't have as an official topic, but is changing. Uh, the NXT titles are reverting back to the black and gold because NXT 2.0 is effectively dead. And guess what? That was a Vince creation.
I'm sorry, but randomly, but it's like this is also kind of on topic, but it's like so. Let me get this straight. You have so you bring back the splat titles, you have them be a thing. Then you just basically just gonna bring back the old titles. Now, like, bro, what the like? What was the point? What was even the point of us making the titles on 2K?
Yeah, like
And
literally. I downloaded those suckers for nothing.
yeah, anyway, back on topic. But I will say, I honestly will say, like, I don't want Vince McMahon back because, like, I don't even know if I could even continue watching wrestling if Vince was. What are your takes?
I mean, at some point, you're not going to have a choice with the Arrowverse shows coming to an end.
Oh, yeah, that's also true. I mean, anyway, but what are your honest? What's your thoughts on the Vince McMahon situation?
The fact that Vincent K. McMahon thinks he can regain control of WWE, even with more allegations, is baffling.
Yeah, that is honestly. I mean, honestly, yeah, that is fair. Because because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how. Because don't get me wrong, like Vince McMahon, it would be interesting if it was still in charge, but it's like, bro, like if this shit's probably gonna get like, oh, worse and worse. But my only problem with this whole like if there are any people are just saying that Vince did all this stuff. I hope they at least provide evidence because otherwise it'll be more of he said, she said, nothing really gets done.
And like apparently, I don't know how Vince would have accomplished this, but I will say one of the accusers says that like a client of theirs was a victim from Vince. So
Yeah, but
really a he said she said because it's not a first-hand source.
yeah, and my honest, I want to add some more to all this shenanigans. Is I think that Vince McMahon did like. I honestly am not even sure if Paul even wants Vince to come back. Honestly, because Paul would
I
just.
assume by Paul you mean Triple H?
Yes, I have AAA. I don't even think Triple H wants people to come back because considering.
Oh, fuck
all,
off, Siri. Fuck off, Siri.
be,
That's
be
embarrassing. I said, I
because
assume by Paul you mean Triple H.
yeah, okay, that's cool. But before we wrap this up, what I
That
mean.
doesn't answer my question.
Oh, what?
by Paul, do you mean Triple H?
Yes, because if Triple H were still in control, if Vince McMahon were still in control, I believe that all those talent that would have been fired would have stayed fired. But since Triple H is in control, he's bringing a lot of these fired talent back.
Yeah, think about it this way. If Vince was still in control, we wouldn't have Damage Control, the faction.
Or or Bray Wyatt and whatever's going on with him and Cross.
Yeah, but anyways, you guys probably heard the timer go off.
If not, whatever. Topic 3's
We'll
next.
be right back with the results of Deadline.
Hello, everybody. We are back with topic number 3, the results of NXT TakeOver Deadline.
Yeah, and I'm going to be keeping track of what he says to make sure he doesn't try to lie and say I lost when I beat you 4-1.
Hey! All right. Wait your turn, God damn it. All right. The first match is that witch lady versus
Asla
Dawn, thank you. Versus Alba Fire. Okay, man. Good match, weird ass ending.
Could be better.
I mean, no, because the reason I'm saying that is because the match ended with the referee coughing up like black goo.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, the match was good, but I feel like Asla was a part of the NXT UK brand, right?
Yes.
So they would have history since Alba Fire's Kaylee Ray. I feel like it could have been better.
Yes. The next. And
Daniel won that one.
Yeah. Thank you. I got this. Thank you.
Well, you didn't mention who got the prediction right.
Yeah, okay, great. The next match was Pretty Deadly versus the New Day for the NXT Tag Team titles. And honestly, even though Matthew won this one, neither of us were expecting this.
Yeah, legitimately neither of us expected the New Day to actually win. And keep in mind, I'm pretty sure this is Xavier Woods' first NXT championship.
Yeah. True. Okay. Then we had the Women's Iron Survivor. Okay, Matthew won this. Then we had Matthew had Roxanne Perez
and Cora Jade.
And I had Indy Hartwell and Zoe Starks.
Yeah.
My honest take, okay, Matthew, what are your takes on the Iron Survivor match?
I will mention that we got the timing off for the interval because for some reason I forgot that 2 people need to be in the ring to start a match.
For some reason.
So yeah, the last person entered at 10 minutes. The match was pretty good.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it definitely was interesting. But the fact is that you could get a fall by disqualification as well. What's surprising, the fact is no one brought in any weapons.
Yeah, the weird thing is, you could get fall from disqualification, but there were people battling in the ring while people were battling out of the ring, and there were no countouts.
Yeah.
It's weird to have disqualifications on, but not countouts.
Yeah, that wasn't really clarified. Matthew won this, and I will admit, I was kidding. I don't know. The match, in my opinion, was interesting. It was definitely a first, but it's just I don't really, it didn't really feel like there was a whole lot of drama for every single fall. It
Yeah, and
didn't.
I will say something I thought was going to happen in a Iron Survivor match eventually did happen, but we'll be covering that in the next match.
Yeah. The next match is the men's Iron Survivor Challenge, which I will say I thought was better than the women's.
Yeah. Now, I did pose this question to Travis during the actual event. I wondered what would happen if two people were in the penalty box at the same time. And that did happen, and they just stood there. What I thought was going to happen is that they were going to start fighting in the penalty box.
Yeah, that did happen with actually JD McDonough.
Yeah, but it didn't happen while they were actually in the penalty box. It happened once the door was open.
Okay, that's just weird.
Yeah, like, come on, guys.
Yeah, and I will say, I thought, and I didn't say this for the women's, but I thought, like I thought with with the goal of this match to score the most pinfalls, I really didn't think that there'd be a whole lot of chain wrestling. I just thought that they would just be immediately trying to score pinfalls the quickest.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. Like that would be my logic. And don't give me, like the match definitely had a lot of drama. And the question that I still have is, what would have happened if everyone had a fault, but they were within the 25 minutes?
And
they did.
Definitely wouldn't sneeze. I feel like it would go to a sudden death.
Yeah, but and I will say the men's I thought was good. I thought that there were a lot of good falls, a lot of good epic things. And the winner of this one was Grayson Waller, which I mean, it
was
makes
one of my picks.
I
still believe Grayson Waller is the Miz of NXT. He's arrogant enough for sure.
Yeah, and I will say is I also thought that there would be a lot of alliances and a lot of it'd be like I don't know. I thought this match it was definitely good and definitely worth watching, but I don't really know if I want this to be a reoccurring thing, honestly.
Well, it's an NXT exclusive, so get used to it.
Maybe if they even decide to do it next year.
Fair enough.
All right, and the main event was Apollo Crews versus Bron Breakker. Very good match.
Yeah, solid match for sure.
Back and forth, I thought that Apollo had multiple chances to win, and I will say is Bron Breakker. It felt kind of weird that also there was kind of two baby faces battling for the biggest title in NXT.
Yeah.
Like my only problem with that match is that I thought that Bron Breakker was I thought Bron Breakker's opponent should have been for Deadline should have been a heel.
Yeah, but any of a majority of the heroes that would be real competition were in the Deadline or the Iron Survivor.
Yeah, because I will say, when I heard this thing was called NXT TakeOver Deadline,
minus the takeover.
Yeah, well, when I'm gonna be honest, when I heard that this event was called Deadline, I thought it was gonna be like a certain match where it was gonna be like you had a deadline to score. Like, I don't know. I thought it was gonna. I really wasn't sure. I thought it was gonna be like a Royal Rumble style pin for submission and also over the top rope kind of deadline match.
Yeah, well, a deadline is you have a certain amount of time to do something.
Yeah, and I guess.
And in the case of WWE and Iron Survivor, is give the most pin or submission.
Yeah. But
Braun won that match, which
yeah.
is literally what we expected. The result of the Tag Team Championship match was the result of the NXT Championship.
Yeah, and I will say, and this might also be a random take, but don't get me wrong, is that I thought the stage of this was a bit lackluster again, but with them, like if they do more events in NXT, I hope that they make it look a little bit different if they do ones at where they do.
Next year, so maybe we will have different stages.
But my honest thought,
maybe it'll probably just be the Raw and SmackDown stage.
Yeah, Matthew. Honest thoughts on Deadline?
Pretty good, but could have been better. I feel like that's the status quo for WWE these days.
Yeah, that's fair. I will say I thought there wasn't really like a match of the night. Nothing really honestly stole the show for me.
Yeah.
And Matthew.
Now, I do have a question for you, Travis.
What?
Are we going to do predictions for NXT New Year's Evil TV special?
I'm not sure. Possibly. Maybe. I don't know.
We'll just have to see where the match card is for that when it rolls around next year.
Literally.
So with that said, this was the last prediction battle of 2022.
Hold on. Yeah, this was, yes. Matthew, would you tell the audience, please?
Yes, I almost forgot about the punishment.
Yes.
The loser of this would have had to watch a bad movie, Christmas movie, whatever.
Holiday
movie. And for those who don't know, the Troy Daniels pick for the bad holiday movie was one called Fat Man,
which was about a kid that hires a hitman to kill Santa.
And I chose one called Saving Santa, which is about a stable elf who has to save Christmas using Santa's sleigh and a time spear.
Sounds enjoy it. And I forgot to mention also, my movie also involves Santa working with the military for some reason.
Yeah. And since I won in pretty convincing fashion, surprisingly.
Yeah.
You will have to watch Saving Santa.
Yes.
Hopefully you can do it before Christmas.
Yeah, and I will say with this, I have a question before we end this episode, and that is, was there any good honest pay-per-views that we had predicted this year?
I feel like, honestly, Survivor Series was maybe the best that we predicted this year. And that's saying something considering we predicted WrestleMania this year.
Yeah, and so yeah, this was the final prediction. Episode 59 is done. Goodbye. Roll that outro.
Yep, you'll hear us next week. Roll that motherfucking outro.
Peace out, losers.
Thank you for listening to At Odds, hosted by the Unbreakable Spirit,
And the Executioner.
edited by the Unbreakable Spirit. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MTS_life_0126.
You can follow me on Instagram at DanTravis121, and you can also follow me on the Twitter at DanTheExecutioner21.
And you can follow the podcast at Odds Podcast. We'll be back next week with more debates and discussions. But until then, the Executioner and the Unbreakable Spirit will still be at odds.
Thank you, losers.